Welcome to the real world. I can show you the world.
And then?
And you'll be in a world of legendary moments will be captured. So stand up, scream, and make sure the boys feel you.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
What is going on, Cowboy Nation? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and today we're going to discuss, well, the Thanksgiving Day that game that happened 2 days ago. We were supposed to go yesterday, but of course things happen in the world which we will talk about. But one thing we definitely want to recover today is, or actually cover today, is the Dallas versus Commanders. I'm going to say Redskins there for a second because it's been such a long.
Hand up.
And yeah, the left leg up I put on there. But man, a lot of what we said was going to happen, even with the score being the way that it was. This is the scores that we predicted as well. So it wasn't surprising, but it being so close to halftime, again, that wasn't surprising for us either. Bryan, how do you feel coming out of this Washington game about this Cowboys franchise?
I feel very, very good. Listen, this is what we said, though, right? This is, to me, the season, our stretch drive hasn't started. This was a must-win. We needed to make me feel a little better. Listen, again, Dallas is weird at home because they didn't play perfect at times, and yet they blew them out. We were talking, me and Mark were talking at the beginning of the game. Dak missed, some throws in the first couple drives he would admit.
Yeah, high throws.
Yeah, and it was, sometimes he's like that, and I liken it to a boxer who comes out into the ring dry, who doesn't get a good warm up in. Now, I'm not saying Dak didn't warm up, but he wasn't warm. His arm wasn't ready to go, and he wasn't feeling it. Yeah. But boy, he was feeling it.
By the end,
he made some unbelievable throws. I had been calling for the seam route by the tight end, and we got that. They were playing that Tampa 2. It was what we needed to get done, and we came out of the game relatively healthy. Now it begins, people. Now it begins. But I enjoyed it, man. How was your Thanksgiving, by the way?
Very filling. I am still full. I have gained weight since this whole in-laws. The in-laws combination between just the holidays. Yeah, I've definitely back up pound-wise. So let me get to this chat here. Of course, we had early in here Lord Nova, Crystal Caramel Corn, Roland's Reviews in the house, Mike Aldana, Ray Solis. There it is, Solis. Of course,
What's up, Ray?
Jeff Lee is in the house. Coyote, Brad Harris, Bobby Murphy. I want to make sure that I get everybody. I appreciate you guys coming through. We had to change up the time a little bit today just because, we both actually wanted to watch the Survivor Series that was happening tonight. And, I watch it with the little one. So that's the reason why with the nice little Peacock deal that they had going off this Black Friday, I was able to get a whole year subscription. So I'm excited about watching some of this. But one thing I am excited to talk about is, of course, the Dallas Cowboys and the offense, man. The offense is where I want to start because things of defense-wise, we'll definitely key in on that as well. Dak also with a really good game, not throwing any interceptions, 4 touchdowns, and those for 331 yards.
Listen, right now, Phil, and you brought it up. I'm trying to be as positive as I can. I don't like talking MVP. I don't. But right now, Dak leads the league in
Cowboy Mafia
in touchdown passes with 23.
Captain Taki.
So, he's way ahead. I mean, I think he's way ahead. He leads the league, but again. You want to be the MVP, you got to win your division. So I'm not trying to get off of I'm not trying to be negative here, but I'm just saying let's put that aside and let's get these next
One thing, if I had to say something, when I look at the MVP and the whole MVP race, a lot of the times it automatically goes to the person that's, their team is having success, and which is totally understandable, very understandable. But to me, it's like not only the team having success, but if you were not in that lineup, would your team have the same success? And if you're, we've all kind of talked about how Dak needs to use his legs. Dak needs to be able to read the coverage, do some audibles. So when it comes to that stuff in this team, yes, I just think that that's what he's bringing to, to the offense. He's bringing that type of level of competition. And I really like that. Because obviously if he isn't doing this offense isn't doing what it's doing. So yeah, that's where I have to kind of put my my vote in there for him. But man, you're right on the money, and I think a lot of people are losing track of that. Is when you bring up stuff like that, hey, they need to do that against great competition. They need to do that against playoff type of teams. It's totally understandable because the body of work that he's had, yes, he's had some victories, but he's also had a lot of losses, which a lot of people like to hang their hat on right there. So I definitely agree with you, Brian.
Yeah, and listen, again, Ultra Cowboy.
You might be right.
I see Ultra. I haven't seen you in a while, buddy.
Captain
Taki, what's up, my man? Michael Dana. Coyote, what up, brother? But yeah, and I'm not trying to be negative, but just talking about the early part of the game, Sam Howell threw for 300 yards. Now, Sam Howell leads the league in yardage.
And the first quarterback to do that against our defense, too. So
yeah. And he didn't have a touchdown pass. He was 28 for 44 for 300 and a pick. It was kind of like bend but don't break early on until we got a lead. What do I always say, Phil? This defense, and it's easy to say this because that's a good recipe, but our recipe is to score offensively and let our defense be able to attack a one-dimensional offense. Washington had success relatively running the ball.
Yeah,
I thought.
Yeah, I agree. And we thought they would. They just got away from that. There was some questionable stuff. Riverboat Ron was doing his riverboat things, gambling because, where there were some situations where they could have actually get some points with their field goals because they had some momentum. There was a lot of drives where it felt like they could have gotten points that they just came up empty-handed. Now, I don't know if we want to give the defense some of that credit, but a lot of it had to do with some of that offensive play calling on the other side. Very questionable stuff. But when it came down, I think there was that fourth down call where they, third on one, they throw it deep because obviously I understand, man, trying to see if you can get a big play because you're going to be able to go back on fourth down. But Osa Digizua gets into the backfield and stops that from happening. So there's a lot of guys stepping up in this game and kind of, definitely having a hand. Well, for example, when we were talking about offense, Turpin was a guy that we thought was going to have something. I guess we were right. It just wasn't exactly the type of touchdown that we wanted. But what did you think about our wide receivers? Because that's something right there. Because when you look at the box score, you don't see a whole lot of you don't see a 100-yard game. You don't see all this thing. But combining them all together, man, they did a great job.
It was coming from all ends. I was happy to see Brandon Cooks get in the end zone again. Just running down the box score. Brandon Cooks had 4 receptions for 72 and a TD. CD had 4 for 53 and a touchdown. You touched on Turpin, 1 for 34 with a touchdown. Rico, 1 for 15 and a touchdown.
I like that he's getting involved, man. They're utilizing him, starting to utilize him correctly.
That's how you want to play, though.
Let's be real.
If I had to pick, don't get me wrong, every once in a while you need your stud receiver, CeeDee Lamb, to go off, but listen, if they're going to play you like that and shade coverage towards CD, we need to
very much so.
Yeah, exactly. We need to count on these other guys. Even Gallup, I believe he had a
catch. I know it early. It was like
one catch. Okay.
Right off the beginning of the drive. I think he started off the game with that catch with the first down. So it's like, I thought Jim Nantz, right? Was he doing the call? I like his call when Schoonmaker Schoonmaker's a first down maker or a Schoonmaker touchdown maker.
Scooney.
I was even Schoonmaker had a really really good catch. There was one that was Jake Ferguson that was a deep one you wanted him to hang on to, but his legs all of a sudden got flipped out from underneath him. So he doesn't come up with those. So there was some questionable stuff with the tight ends. McKeon getting down, it wasn't his fault. Dak had to kind of wait to hike the ball before there was some kind of an illegal formation whole thing happening. So there were some times where it was questionable. But I saw exactly what you saw. I saw Dak off a little bit. He was off like high. And there was that deep pass right off one of the first two drives where that could have been a touchdown, where he has hit CeeDee Lamb, I believe, but he misses him by like 5 yards.
Dak was off the first couple drives. We had guys streaking. We had guys open all day. But we talked about it, right? We talked about how they switched up the offense, and Dak is just. I mean, that seam pass is probably one of the harder passes.
No,
you got to clear
Ferguson.
the linebacker.
That was a beautiful pass.
And and that's when you knew he was on. When Dak's doing that, he's locked in right now. Now the season starts. I told you, we are 3 games into my 5-game in a row must. So we got 2 left. We won the first 3. Now we got to beat Seattle, who is a wounded animal right now. We may or may not have Geno Smith. I kind of hope we do have Geno at this point, because I don't think he's 100%. But still, they're not going to be an easy out next Thursday. And then the big showdown, the big rematch with the Philadelphia Eagles. If we want to keep our hopes alive to win the division and an outside chance at the number 1 spot, then we need to win the next 2 and then get ready for those last 4. We'll deal with them. But we need to get to this, the part 4 and 5 that are coming up that I laid out. And we are 3-0 in this, and we are doing what we need to do, Phil. Nobody can sit back. I don't want to hear anybody in the chat say, you haven't beat anybody with a winning record. At the time that we beat the Chargers, they had a winning record. I mean, I didn't analyze every game, but I get it. You know what I mean? It's like, give me a friggin' break. It doesn't matter.
There's 2.
The game wasn't over, Phil. 15 minutes. We had to run to the hospital, and then I come back and I get a text from a blowhard that I used to work with that just retired Eagle fan, saying Dallas sucks, this and that, and they beat nobody and this, and it was like,
you guys are playing the same schedule as we are almost.
And then I told him, I said, this is your scores against Washington. He goes, you're gonna go on your podcast and you're gonna talk about how great Dallas was. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna say that they did what they had to do, but I said I win and I lose with class. You don't. So he's one of the bad Eagle fans.
That looks at the box scores,
who could never do what me and Phil do, because he's not. He doesn't look at it with. I got to call it down the middle. I do. I'm a Cowboy fan, but I got to call it how I see it. He's all Eagles, Dallas sucks. Doesn't matter what the score is. So
it doesn't matter what you're talking about. You could be talking about the Restorers or whatever.
He could never do this.
Yeah. So
He's
Coyote says,
"What up, Eastside?"
Coyote says, I kind of like the aggressive calls early, even though we missed. It backed the defense off and allowed us to get guys going. That also allows with the defense. The defense, of course, playing one single safety in the middle. That just screams, go ahead and try deep and the sides.
What I'm talking about, Lord.
It's a lot of teams when there's been teams that have literally said how they've changed their defense to a too high safety to counter a lot of the speed that Dallas does. So, the fact that Washington stuck by its guns and decided that it was going to do what they were going to do, and you look at Sam Howell and you can see that Washington's future is definitely bright if they can get him some offensive linemen to block for him and some weapons to throw to.
Real quick, what's your opinion on? Do you believe ownership in Washington that said that Rivera came to them and said they think we should get rid of Jack Del Rio? I don't believe that one iota. That Ron Rivera, he is a defensive guy. He has his hand in the defense, does he not?
Mm-hmm.
Now that was a cop out getting rid of Del Rio. I'm not saying you shouldn't have got rid of Del Rio, but Ron Rivera is the guy that they should have got rid of. But I guess they don't want to get. He ain't surviving the year.
No, I say he finished the year.
I mean, after this year,
finish
he's
out
done.
the year, yeah. But I don't think he's the coach next year. I just can't.
I
see
just
it.
don't buy that. He recommended getting rid of Del Rio. Del Rio's his longtime pal. I mean, stop. That's embarrassing.
Casualties
What's embarrassing
of war.
is their defense. Okay, we were open all day. It's just like I said, we were both very, very close to the score. As a matter of fact, a lot of our
a lot of people.
in,
Yes,
we were
I was
all
looking at
over
them.
it.
Yeah, there was a lot of close ones, and so everybody had to add the finger on the pulse. We knew that even with as we were going close to the fourth quarter, I thought it was close to 30, or was it 30? I can't remember. And I was looking at it, I was like, well, I guess we could still technically get to 40 if all of a sudden something happens. Boom, and then all of a sudden it was
go. He's like,
switch.
I don't know that they're gonna get to 40. I'm like, Mark, just relax. They're gonna get to 40. I said they might get to 50. Now, with all due respect, if that hits on those early passes at all, we're easily in the 50s. It is what it is.
Ultra Cowboy brought up the fact that with this O-line blocking the way that it has, you can definitely extend that record to a great winning record. And I have to agree, man. There's some moments. I look at Tyler Biotish and I see him struggling a lot. You're playing a different style of ball that's allowing Steele to kind of get back into his game. So I mean, when I look at this offensive line, yes, there's definitely there's a lot of cohesiveness there. It's just I can see that there's definitely room for improvement with a lot of the guys. You're seeing flags from Zach Martin. You're seeing holdings. You're seeing, you're still seeing some undisciplined football. And so again, I question, because that's not something you saw from him a lot, but you're seeing a lot more. So again, I question the offensive play call, offensive line whole thing. But I think again that's a great job. And Jeff Lee says, you think we will pick up Shaq Leonard?
I'm hearing all kinds of rumors, but I just want to warn everybody regarding Shaq Leonard.
I saw Eagles got rid of Derek Barnett, so I would almost
has
say
nothing to do with that.
I don't know, man. They could be making room.
Hey, well, listen, he wants to go to Dallas. That's what the holdup is. But here again, Dallas is balking because of his back. The coaches want him. This is the word I'm getting. The coaches want him.
I want him for some depth. That's what I want him for, and that's
he
what you
wants
need him
to
for.
come to Dallas. Let's not forget his main tie is his boy Stephon Gilmore. He wants to come to Dallas. If Dallas wants him, they'll get him.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's the thing, but it all depends, because Minnesota is putting out inquiries. Of course, the Eagles, Sirianni's been on the phone with them trying to.
I just think he
doesn't want to go to Philly, but he will, because that's a good chance to win if Dallas doesn't want him.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
I think it's good.
Ultra
depth
says he's
behind.
washed.
No.
I don't think he's washed, Ultra.
You just got two young linebackers in front of him over there in Indianapolis that are doing really well.
Yeah, exactly. And Marquise Bell is, as much as I like Marquise Bell, the problem with him is he's a little light in the ass. So
you need backup. That's all you need.
Yeah,
you need somebody like
Marquise
Rashad
needs
Evans
to play that spot. He can't be played down in, down out. When we play a team like 49ers or Eagles who run downhill at you, Eagles run 65% of the time, and you set up play action. You need a physical linebacker. That's not Marquise Bell. As much as I love him, that's not his game. So, in my opinion, go get him. But they're really looking into that back. He's had a couple back surgeries. Not the same player, Shaq Leonard. So
Yeah, I would have him again. Like I know they're pointing out that they would rather, they would have to have Bell and Clark, and yeah, and I'm for that, keeping those guys under.
Well,
they're
they're
not
gonna play.
playing bad football. It's just, you put in Rashad Evans,
he's
you didn't
not
take
washed,
away
Bobby.
Sam Williams, you didn't take away all these other guys. Everybody's still getting their, getting their playing time. It's just now when you need them to come off, or when you're looking at, this could possibly be a power back type of situation. You put a guy like that in there. So I mean, yeah, I would be all for this for depth, and that's what you do. You add them any way that you can. Again, man, the two people that I would go for would be, well, probably three actually. It would be Sue for your defensive tackle, but with Carl Davis there, that might have done something, especially with him being such a big body. Then you need some kind of offensive lineman, right? And then of course your linebacker. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, he's not washed. I'm not saying Leonard's washed, but
Yeah, I mean he's a step slower than what he used to be, but his
he's
reactions
not
are still
the same
great.
player. But Dallas could use him. He would fit right in. Dallas wants him as part of a rotational piece, whereas the Eagles would need him to come in and be the guy, and that would be an issue. He needs to be a rotational piece. That's what he needs to be. If you know anything about Leonard, that's what he needs. Dallas,
Yeah, Ronnie, exactly.
Like I said, the coaches want him. It's just a matter of, are they going to pay the money? And what is Leonard looking for? Is he looking for multiple years? If he's smart, he would look at just for the rest of this year. But he's not washed. Learn the game, bro. He's not washed. He's not. Sorry. Rashawn Evans was cut by the Eagles in training camp. Rashawn Evans is washed. Leonard, just look at the numbers. He's not washed.
Now, when I look at this team, one thing that we got to talk about is definitely the defensive performance. The defensive performance that this team did. In the beginning, of course, we knew that they were going to, Sam Howell was going to do Sam Howell things. He's not a terrible quarterback. Very tough, really good at escaping, looks downfield and kind of gets yardage when he can. Doesn't just automatically revert to running the ball. So, definitely a guy that if you can put some pieces around, he's going to be a weapon. So we knew that they were going to be able to get the ball down the field. It's just, can you bend but don't break? And they were doing a whole lot of that. There was a lot of situations where I thought that offense was going to score, but the defense was able to hold it down, make some plays, and then, and of course, you had Deron Bland getting his 6th pick of the year. I mean, I don't even know what to say by that point. I really didn't think they were going to. There were some times where they were throwing his way. It definitely wasn't anything that he was doing, just some great routes that he was defending, but to get that situation and really take advantage of it, I wasn't sure if he was going to make it to that end zone. I'm a lot like you guys, where I was like, and then he goes through, and man, what an amazing job! So what do you think about the defense and how they performed against Washington?
Listen, our defense, and looking at the
Thank you, Bryan.
graphic, we will get to it. He's on the menu tonight, very surely, but we're gonna tease him a little bit. But I thought that Parsons had 1.5 sacks. Hankins had 2 sacks.
Dude, Hankins was doing his thing.
Yeah, I thought that was impressive. We were very active. Sam Williams had a couple bonehead plays yet again, but he also made some plays. Damone Clark did well.
If you take the face mask out of the kick return, that punt return, that was a great play. That was a great play, but he just had to finish it.
That was an accident. He didn't reach for it. It really got caught up in the guy's face mask. So it is what it is. But yeah, I really like what I saw. Osa had another good game. Damone he's getting tackles, but he's missing. If you look at him, he's still. He doesn't have the instincts that a Marquise Bell has, even though Marquise Bell is a safety and playing linebacker by necessity. He's not going to hold up. He's already dinged up, people. Anybody that says we don't want to stop playing Marquise is going to get his snaps on certain downs at linebacker, but we need another linebacker. Like I said, we haven't closed the door on Leonard. If we want him, we will get him, but it all depends on Catboy and Jerry Jones and what they're willing to pay for the guy. That's probably what it's going to come down to. But our defense was balling, and I want you to get into it. Let's talk about your guy,
No, which one?
Deron
Wanye?
Bland.
No, okay, Bryan. I'm messing with you, man.
Deron Bland. Go ahead, Phil. Let the people know
Now,
about what is going on.
Now, when you look at Bland, that's again a product of what Dallas is homegrown. You know, you're paying your own guy. Now you see somebody like Bland really step up from the a practice squad guy to turn around to really kind of being on the field, showing that he can make some plays, get some tight coverage. Ended up being a fourth corner, all of a sudden the third corner. Of course, Diggs goes out in the beginning of this year, and then that we didn't hesitate to think that Bland could take on that responsibility. Now, could he take on the same role as Diggs is? Because, like we talked about plenty of times, is that when you have a guy like, Byron Jones that we had here for years, Byron Jones was a great corner. The only problem was that he could never pick it off. And it's okay to have a corner like that. If you have a corner on the other side that's taking the ball away. Okay, I got a takeaway guy over here, and I got a swat away guy over here. Those are guys who complement each other all day. But if your guys aren't turning the ball over or getting takeaways, that's something big, and that's why you saw a guy like Byron Jones leave. And then when we got Diggs, okay, now we got a guy that can go up and get we need a shutdown type of corner. Anthony Brown on the other side, oh my God, we can all remember Anthony Brown. And again, it's nothing against Anthony Brown. He was more of a fourth, fifth type of corner, not a guy that's supposed to come in here and play your number two. So the fact that you got this guy, man, you're still on a very young contract, and he's learning from absolute beast when it comes to Al Harris, really teaching the secondary to really be aggressive. Just a product of a homegrown guy really taking advantage of his opportunity. And I think that's where I see guys like Wanye Thomas, and I get excited about him because I see him as a ball-hawking guy as well. So Deron Bland, man, you got to give it credit, getting the NFL record. And I think what it is when you see the NFL record, to me, it's telling the NFL, look, this is what Cowboy fans have. This is what we're looking at. This is Diggs. This is Bland. This is letting them know without us as Cowboy fans blurting it out of our mouth, because you obviously know we get discredited for being Cowboy fans. We're a little biased, but this shows the NFL that, hey, man, we got a guy.
I think if anybody watches this show, they know that we are more than fair, and as 50-50 down the middle as we could get. Sometimes we get accused of being, or at least I do, not enough of a Cowboy fan. Nobody's a bigger Cowboy fan than me, but I just I mean, I want to be that guy that's reasonable. I don't want to be the guy that's just a homer that's held, and I'm not saying that's good or bad for people, but it's just how I am. And Phil's more like me than a guy who just says Dallas is great, we're not going to lose. No, we're going to, if Dallas doesn't get the job done, we're going to call it out. That's basically what I'm saying. But great game. Deron Bland, he set if anybody saw the locker room interview after the game, he, the locker room was going nuts. He set an NFL record, people. The NFL's been around a long damn time. He set a record with 5 pick sixes, and there's still how many games
60s
left,
and
Bill?
70s was this last time that this was even touched, It's like...
and when you got a guy like him, now what people have to understand is we've never really played him on the boundary corner. So we always had him in a slot with, just like I wasn't sure if he could play the outside. Until you see it, very few guys can be a real good slot guy and then bounce out and be even better. That's a scary, sick athletic trait. So the fact that he could do it, and we're going to get Diggs back, and you're going to have 2 guys on the outside, my God, good luck.
Yep.
You want to talk about no-fly zone. You may get some passes because he was giving up some plays.
Yeah.
But in the course of a game, he going to make you pay. So I'm looking forward to what is going on with our defense going forward. I'm very excited about Deron Bland. Mr. wasn't invited to the combine. It came out, the combine guru who sends out all the invitations, he even said, he told Brian Broaddus he's got egg on his face. He missed them. He's happy, that he's having a great, Deron Bland is in the defensive player of the year. That's where he's at, people. Micah Parsons is going to lose out to his teammate. So
Yeah,
that's where it's going.
I could definitely see that. It definitely has been a changing times because, obviously when it comes to this game, this game is more out of the reach, and obviously he takes advantage of the pick six, able to bring it back. But a lot of the other games that he's done this in has changed the momentum of those games. Now you may have had it like, for example, early on in the year where you had New York, we were up by like 9, and then all of a sudden Diggs hits Barkley, and then Bland grabs that interception and takes it to the house. Now that one, spread that game wide open. I think that's what it has been with Bland. I mean, they've attacked him. He's given up stuff, but he's been right on the hip. It's not like he's been out of the way or he's been totally fooled on some of those situations. But man, when Washington, for example, we were watching them, and they love throwing to that flat. They love throwing to the outside. That was their bread and butter. And I mean, I think one of the guys, I think Nate Burleson even talked about it, saying that you may see some give and goes where all of a sudden you're kind of slant and then you're going to go to the outside because you're going to have some of these corners really biting on these routes. It's just something that Washington really wasn't able to take advantage of, and they just kept running to the
Bland
outside.
held A.J. Brown to 31 receiving yards. That's Bland. So, the fact that Devontae Smith had a big play. Good players are, D-backs can't stop everything. No. Okay, you're going to give up big plays. Are you going to be able to take the ball away and then score you points? That's the special part of Deron Bland. There's a lot of guys who can get interceptions. Well, not like him. He leads the league since he's. Hey, Hamid. Deron Bland leads the league in interceptions at his position since he was drafted. Or since he was. Yeah, he was drafted.
Wasn't he undrafted?
So, no, he was drafted. He just didn't go to the combine.
Yeah.
Dallas's scouts knew about him and drafted him, I believe, in the fifth
or sixth, yeah.
For a guy who never went to the combine. So, listen, Hamid, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to be nice about it. Your defense is like 26th against the pass. I may be generous. They're not good.
Not good.
For whatever reason. For as good as you are to stopping the run, you're bad in stopping the pass. And what wins Super Bowls? Not running anymore, people. It's passing. So if you're going to make us one-dimensional and pass with our offensive line, and Phil, I don't know if you know or if you realized, we are gelling big time. Over the last couple games, no sacks this game, Phil. 0 sacks against a team that terrorized the Eagles.
Yeah. Your defensive tackles are crazy, but they were very much manhandling them. So I got to give them credit on that. That's why when I talk about Biotish, he had his moments, but who was he going against, man? There's the 2 top defensive tackles. I think that's one thing about this division that they do have, defensive tackles. So when you're talking about a game, oh man, you're not going to be able to handle our front. That's all we do, man. That's why when we saw a guy like like some of these guys that are coming from the New York Jets, for example, we didn't flinch because obviously we go against competition in there. What are you laughing about?
How many needs to go manscape the Rocky statue? Yeah. I feel like a Kentucky Fried Idiot. Anyway.
But they've taken it. But the Eagles have been lucky, and the defense has taken advantage of situations where the other offense is really messed up. So you gotta give them credit, man. They're definitely taking advantage of the situation. So
I'm gonna open I have a gift I got today from a subscriber. He comes in here from time to time too. You guys are screwed now. The Eagles. You guys are screwed. What I was gifted today. This is a note from your giver. It's Chuck. Like if you guys know Chuck, the Cowboy fan who comes in here, he's in my streams. He sent me a black voodoo doll to repel evil and protect against negativity. So this voodoo doll will be with me. Okay? He is going to protect me against Hamid. Yeah, look. He's going to protect me against Hamid. Look at this. That's a freaky... You guys are messed. You guys are done now. All right? It's like Joe Boo number 2. So he's gonna be watching the games, people. He's gonna ward off evil, and evil in the sense of Twiz, and Hamid, and Bobby Murphy. Evil, and as far as Eagle fans, you guys are great. You know I'm messing with you, but that's where we're at. So we got yet something else. So get ready. We got ourselves a troll. Thank you so much, Chuck. If you rewatch this or if you show up, I'll reach out to you. I'm going to email him. Very cool. I appreciate when you guys do that. Awesome. So thank you, Chuck, buddy. It finally came. So you're screwed, Eagle fans. You're screwed. Working your ass off. Anyway, sorry, brother.
No, man, you're good. But when I look at this game overall, great coaching. I have to give him credit for the coaching. Dan Quinn, I question some things, but of course he's allowing his talent to really kind of try to take over more of the game. So he's really simplifying the scheme. So I don't doubt that Sam Howell would have had such a great game because of we ran a lot of zone coverage in this one, and it's just something that they don't normally do. Night. So.
Ultra Cowboy, you gotta highlight that comment. He's on a roll tonight. Hamid was caught crying on Dr. Phil after the Super Bowl loss. The episode was called "The Fumble Hurts."
The fumble hurts, nice. Yeah, it seems to be a tradition to see the Lions kind of failing on Thanksgiving now.
Yeah, and that's another thing. If you're gonna get on us for winning and blowing out bad teams, can we at least call out the Lions? And everybody said, "Oh, you got to worry about the Lions." The Lions ain't coming into AT&T and beating us, so you can forget it. So, our toughest game of the year will be against the Eagles, and I've already said that we're winning that game, and it'll be at Buffalo, which I think we lose.
Yeah,
but
I would too as well.
I don't want to lose, so let's get to that without losing, and then maybe we can win it. But.
Yeah, I mean,
let's just.
When I look at
What's up, Kiana?
Our special teams, our kicker missed an extra point again, right? Am I wrong about that? No, missed extra point, but kicks the field goal and continues his streak of making field goals to start his career. So that's an interesting little thing that he keeps on doing, But again, I can feel a little bit more confident about our special teams, about going for field goals, about doing that deep. I think that was a lot of...
he can't make extra points. I don't know why, but he can nail field goals. I guess that's important, right?
Well, I mean, when I look at some of these where you're doing these field goals, I mean, you're giving these teams possibility of really good field position if you miss those field goals. So I mean, they're giving him a lot of confidence. That he's going to be able to make it. And of course you're relying a lot on your defense. And I think that says a lot too, because they started out this game where they're kicking it off. They're finally getting that situation. But when you look at the team, if I'm going to be a little critical, again, right before the half and right after the half, you're almost giving up scores. And this is because this is a lot lower competition. So of course you were able to stop them. But I do question their ability to stop somebody from scoring right before the half. And then of course if they're receiving the ball in the second half, doing something there, because Dallas has it, but then they go 3 and out, and then they give the ball right back. It's just that's not how there's no point in kicking it off in the beginning if that's how you're going to start out the second half.
Right.
They gotta. I don't know what that is. There's just a sluggishness to start off halves.
Definitely. And I don't know. I always miss to see whether we deferred, if we won. Who won the toss? Do we know who won the toss?
I just know we kicked it off. I just know that.
Yeah, and it's a little annoying. It seems like I'd rather be on defense, quite frankly, because it seems like our offense isn't quite ready to go in that first drive of the game.
That's correct. Very correct.
I don't know why. Normally, I mean, I know that's a good philosophy anyway, but put your defense out there. That's what I would do. But against the Eagles, I don't know. We're at home. I think you got to rely on your defense. Long game. But one more game, and then we can talk Philly. But
yeah,
very happy with Thanksgiving. We got a win on Thanksgiving. It was dominant. is bad. Like I said, we won 45-10, and we left a lot of meat on the bone, Phil.
That's
It was
correct.
a lot
There was
there.
a lot there, yeah.
So our ceiling is through the roof. We're not giving up yards every game to teams like Eagles are. Eagles are giving up hella yards against a lot of teams. So it is what it is. I'm happy with it, and I think all the fans are. I just think we need to slow down with the MVP. Let's get through this next little stretch here. We win games, all that will take care of itself, people. It'll all take care of itself. You know who's leading the poll in Vegas to win the MVP right now? It ain't Dak. I don't understand it, but I guess it's more for like the record. As Jalen Hurts is odds-on favorite right now, and if you look at his numbers, they're not very.
See, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't go with.
Not very
It doesn't go with
exciting.
who actually makes their team better.
Dak's numbers are way better. But,
It always goes by the record. It always is. That's why I never really put much into it until the very end. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, let's get through this stretch, and then it'll all take care of itself. So,
But anyways, yeah, great game. They took care of business. Anything that you want to say before we get out of here? Because I'm ready for some Survivor Series.
yeah, well, Survivor Series is coming on. It's, we got a nice crowd in here though, so we got some time. You don't have to rush on my account. We got another 10, 15 minutes, but whatever you want to do. But yeah, I'll be streaming the Eagle game tomorrow. I guess I'll go on around 4:00. So I'll be on. It's a good game. Buffalo with Philly.
Yeah.
Well, obviously we're rooting for the Bills. Just because I want that game to really mean something the following week. So, let's go. Or no, in 2 weeks.
In 2
'Cause
weeks.
they got the Bills.
Then the
See, that's the
49ers.
thing. If you lose to the Bills, and then you got the Niners, and the Niners are red hot. The Niners are rolling right now.
Yeah.
It's the
And
one
well,
team you
and-
don't want to play.
And
is
if
the
they,
Niners.
if they get knocked, even if the Eagles win, I think we win in that category. It's whoever loses. I mean, that would knock the Niners down. That would knock either the Eagles down. So it's just we're going to benefit from that game in some way. The only way I think it wouldn't would be if they tied.
yeah.
So
but
So I mean, when I look at this game again, I saw a lot of guys getting involved. Tony Pollard, of course, going. They're moving more into the outside. Rico getting involved in there. I don't think I saw Deuce in there. I don't.
No,
For
Deuce
some
was
reason,
inactive.
I think I was seeing some kind of thing, and I saw him, so that's why I'm like mixing it up.
Yeah, Deuce was inactive. Yeah.
So yeah, there's gonna be some question marks going into the stretch of the season. Whether they're gonna be getting Deuce involved at all. Is he just a insurance policy? So. Definitely a lot of question marks, man, in the offense. And to say that, and Dak for the past, again, I'll bring up the stack. Past 24 times, 25 times, he's had 13 games now with 40-plus points. So, man, that is some heck of a stat. And of course, Kellen Moore, when you look at the offense for the Chargers, man, that is some stagnant stuff that's happening over there. So you wonder, is it the offense? Is it the players? We see the same stuff that we were having problems with. You just don't have the level of talent to overcome it.
You can say it, Brad, but I won't listen. I'm gonna have to break out. I have to decide whether I'm gonna break out the. I'm only gonna save that for Cowboy games because I think that would screw off everything. I'm gonna pull out my good luck tiki tomorrow and use that, and then in the Cowboys games I'll have the tiki ends. This guy here, he's creepy, man. He's creepy. You don't want to mess with this guy. So we got to come up with a name for him. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do a poll. Maybe I'll put a picture up on my channel and say that I need a name. And you guys can just give me names. So
yeah, definitely some creepy shit.
I'm excited for it. I am.
But anyways,
The
Bryan,
little things.
next Wednesday we'll go on, of course, to cover the Seahawk Thursday night football game. Hopefully, Dallas will blow out Seattle, make that the boring part of the game, because, of course, those Thursday night football games have not always lived up to its reputation. So, we'll see how that goes. There's definitely gets interesting for everybody, really, in their schedules. It's a last crunch trying to make that, positioning for the playoffs. Everybody likes to push that whole if the playoffs stop now. I don't want to see it. I want to see just the scenario start coming here. 2 weeks before the end of the season. Oh, Pittsburgh can get in there if they have so and so lose plus so and so tie, and they get into all those crazy scenarios. Hopefully, we're not a part of any of that. We have our positioning. We're if we're playing for anything, we're playing hopefully more for a top positioning than anything. But we got to play one game at a time, and I like that the Cowboys have been doing that. Winning, of course, and taking care of games that they should be taking care of, not stumbling like they did against Arizona. You can go into some of these games thinking that the competition is not going to be there, but they did a really good job of eventually putting Washington to bed, and not too far along, we're going to have to face them again. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting game, just is it going to be a little bit more of the same, or are they going to put a little bit more of a fight in their home stadium? So,
yeah. One more thing before we go, I got to bring up what was your thought on the turkey leg in the red kettle?
I'm amazed that he's not going to get fined something for a prop whole situation. I question this the cleansiness of it, but then it was in aluminum foil.
It was just put in there.
It was aluminum foil. In the fourth quarter. So I love it, man. It's
I thought it was awesome.
Obviously, if you're a Washington fan, you got to kind of feel the insult and slap to the face feeling that you have. But again, it's one of those things. It adds to the rivalry, and they're having fun.
Nobody seemed to care last year, though, Phil, when they beat us in the last game of the year, when we were half into it. Mm-hmm. And they were running their mouth. So there you go. Take that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I definitely agree. I was all for it. I thought maybe that Turpin jumped in there and stepped on the turkey leg, so I didn't know what.
Yeah, it looked like he stepped on the leg.
So I was like, is that what was going on there? It's like, hey man, watch out. It was like, did they have it on the corner? I don't know.
Yeah, Dak had some turkey leg with some of those little rubber pellets from the the football field. So it went down a little rough, but
it was rubbery.
Came out just fine. No,
a little chewy. Now that's one of the pebbles,
tastes like chicken.
And then of course they get get Deron Bland and Dak obviously getting the nice turkey leg at the end. Something a nice tradition, a John Madden tradition. I like the little patches that they had on their uniforms as well for John Madden. One thing I didn't like was that they weren't bringing up Pat Summerall. I grew up and Pat was the man too, man. And
Pat. Yeah, they were a duo. So
yeah, so that's why when I look at that, I'm like, yeah, Madden, he definitely deserves all that stuff. Video games, all that. But man, I always remember the two. I remember him and Pat doing their thing. So yeah, I just wish they would have brought him up a little bit more. But other than that, I think a great celebration. Dolly Parton, that was our halftime show. Jake Hollow was the other dude, and that was terrible. So,
yeah,
oh my
bad.
God! Yeah, it was bad. It was hard to watch.
The
singing
guy,
was good.
Real quick, Dallas gonna have 3 straight 12-win seasons. 12 ain't gonna win the division, buddy. That's the problem. You need 13 to possibly.
But yes, I agree.
If you want to guarantee it, you need to win out.
But he's saying at least as 12, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
That's what
I
he's
agree.
saying.
Elena, how are you? They were covered in foil hate priming game. How are you, Elena?
But no, man.
That's it for me, man. I'm looking forward to, I'm going to get some stuff done tomorrow. It's going to rain here tomorrow. So I was out all day. Where's my dog? I was outside doing leaves today. I was smoking some stuff, and I was all over the place. I finished my Christmas lights out. Well, 99% done. I had to order a couple more strands.
Dude, I
got a lot done today. And tomorrow I'll be in, but looking at the games, I just don't feel like streaming the early games. But I'll go on for the 4:00 game, and I don't know what you're doing, Phil, but you're welcome to come and hang out.
We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna probably most likely be watching football in some way. So unless if I stay at the house, I'll
4:15 or so, hop on, man.
But anyways, guys, I appreciate you coming through and talking, of course, this nice Thanksgiving game, talking rival football, talking trash, as I see in a lot of the chat there, too. So, I think Bryan really says it right, man. We all had our finger on the pulse when it came to what this score was going to be. They had a lot in there that were people that thought it was going to be a closer game. Why? Because, of course, division games. When other teams get close on those division games, that's what it is. It's a division game. Don't worry about it. But when the Cowboys beat up on these type of teams, they're beating up on a bad team. Not they're beating their rival division game that a lot of people tend to struggle on. No, they didn't. They took care of business. So that's what I look at. Of course, I'm not getting too excited. I'm not thinking all of a sudden they're going to the Super Bowl or anything like that. I think we have a great chance. Just like I said in the beginning of the season, Bryan says it, hey, how healthy are you by the time you get to the end of it? How cohesive are you as a team? You're seeing the offense open up. You're seeing this defense really, bend but don't break. I think that's the philosophy that it has right now. Bend but don't break. You're seeing them get down the field, but then all of a sudden they clamp down. There's a play, there's a stop. So I really like to see them do that more by the 50-yard line, but, you got to beg, and you can't. Beggars can't be choosers kind of in that situation. So, Bryan, I appreciate you coming through. I'll see you next Wednesday. Of course, you're going to have your on your channel, so we might be on your channel tomorrow. But, Bryan, I appreciate you coming through. Anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
No, man. Just enjoy the games tomorrow and go Bills. Right, Hamid? I hope your team chokes against the Sean McDermott Bills. I don't know. That's all I got for you.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you coming through. And one thing I appreciate you forgetting not to do is...
always ring that bell.
Damn right.
Hey! We know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do, you're like a little screw loose type of guy, and that's how I am. So, I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
Gametime Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here,
Cool name. Superpowers?
broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you gonna tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil. And, of course, my co-host, Gametime Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000. I don't even need to hear it.